bloodline on my mom's
I tell
side.
everybody,
Yeah.
if y'all want to know how we nut the fuck up, go tell them niggas in New Orleans they can't have Mardi Gras and see what they do to
Oh,
your
that
ass.
another thing I love about which you could tell that it's our ancient culture still in Louisiana is if you notice whether it's after a wedding or after what they call a funeral, because you know we know that death isn't real. It's always you can be sad, but we have what we call the second line, and that's the way that I'm looking forward to this is the second line because we're gonna celebrate and turn up. Because even if in what they call death, where everybody else is sad and folks crying, we'll have a celebration, the dance
Hey,
and
look,
party.
watch the culture. They say we not connected, and
We
we
are.
all different people, right? In New Orleans, you're not taking Mardi Gras. It's not gonna happen.
It never.
It's not gonna happen. You will get fucked up. They tried to do
Mhm.
it. They tried to
They
do
will
it.
tear the city, like they will tear you. You're
They,
not ever
yeah,
taking it ever.
they have to have Mardi Gras. It's a spiritual release
It's
mechanism.
very spiritual. Yeah, it's very
It's a
spiritual.
spiritual
hmm
release mechanism in order to
hmm
keep the spiritual energy pure.
And it's done in that certain time period. And they see, you know, again, I'm an astrologer. It's done at a certain time period for a reason. So that's why you're not going. Not only are you not going to take it, because if you noticed it, when they've not only tried to take it but switched them dates around, folks went crazy too because
Okay,
it's
now
done in specific dates.
I'm gonna give you the same ceremony.
hmm
I'm just gonna change the name. And if you try to
hmm
take the ceremony from the people I'm gonna mention, you're gonna have the same reaction as trying to
hmm
take Mardi Gras from New Orleans.
hmm
Take Cinco de Mayo from Mexico.
Not happening.
Or most of those Latin countries going
hmm
south of Mexico still practice Cinco de Mayo,
hmm
right?
hmm
Dia de Muerte is what they call it, the
Yeah.
Day of the Dead.
Dead. Yep. Yep.
But it's
And
Mardi
even matter of
Gras.
fact, we have coming up because, and I gotta just interject this, you know, they have their Halloween, which, you know, these people, they steal everything and try to make it wicked. But October 30th is, you know, All Hallows Eve. They took October 31st, and then November 1st is what we call our All Ancestors Day. And so, which is similar to what you're saying, the Day of the Dead. So even here in our, probably, I don't know if it was our hoodoo, because, you know, this month is Hoodoo Heritage Month. So we've always did it. And if you know about how they do Halloween, that's why they say trick or treat, because they don't want to see their ancestors. They scared of theirs because they did so much dirt, they got so much demonic. We have our altars, and that's why they say ghosts and goblins and ghouls, because they knew how we had our ancestors' day. We had our All Hallows Eve, we had our candles, and we were, well, not necessarily worship, but we honored our various deities and things like that. And so they're gonna pick a day right in the middle of our holy 2 days, you know, the 2 different days that we had our 3-day ceremonies,
Well,
especially particularly
Halloween was ours, like a rest Mother Earth for the winter ceremony,
mm-hmm.
right? Halloween is another version of Cinco de Mayo. It's just in a different part of the year,
Mm-hmm.
right? The putting her to rest, the funeral is in the fall
Yes.
after the harvest,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this is why they put Halloween October 31st. Right?
Mm.
Then you have All Ancestors Day
Mhm,
on
mhm.
November
Right.
2nd or 3rd.
Yes.
And then you have All Saints Day on November the 5th.
Mhm.
Right? And here go the irony about this solar eclipse that's coming. Oh, one more thing before I get back to the eclipse. Talking about Mardi Gras under a
Mhm.
different name. Go to Brazil and tell them they can no longer have Los Carnaval.
Mm.
If you see it, it's just a magnified Mardi Gras. It's bigger than Mardi Gras because there's more people involved.
Mm.
The whole country damn near is involved. But it's called Los Carnaval, which in English is the carnival, but it's a big ass parade.
Mm.
It's just like Mardi Gras.
Wow.
The culture is expressed across the land.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? But we
Mhm.
don't remember the
Mhm.
culture because they used it and weaponized it against us.
Right. Right. Mm.
Right? So when you see the culture, when you go look at these things for yourself, and then you
Mhm.
see, hold up, these motherfuckers ain't never been able to really stop us from doing us. It's just
Mm.
that they was able to corral us in and make us do us on their terms.
Right.
We changing the terms back to us.
Right. That,
Like
that.
the final harvest festival was the end of November.
Okay.
Right? That's what Thanksgiving was. It was the harvest festival
Okay.
of the indigenous people. If you read the Thanksgiving tale they tell us, they said that the natives brought the visitors food. And the centerpiece was the turkey. Big Mama used to cook the chief a turkey.
Yeah.
That's why it's traditional for the man to cut the turkey.
Cut it first.
It's like his birthday cake from Big Mama. The turkey became the mockery of the chiefs because we didn't remember what it was. Right? So they used it to mock the chiefs.
Oh, wow.
But the turkey is the American peacock. There used to be a bird that was natural habitat, was all the way through Mexico into South America. It was huge. It looked like a giant peacock. And it used to fly in the sky. When the sun hit it, the feathers used to give off this certain glistening color. They made it look like he was a flying crystal of sorts. Wow. And these was the ones that they used to make the costume for the Great Thunderbird ceremonies. Oh, wow. What we know today is stomp plugs. Everybody had a piece to perform in the great ceremony of the Thunderbird. And it was up to each clan to come up with their own dance so that when they wear their feathers from the colored Thunderbird they represent, or that part of the Thunderbird they represent, they moves look unique. Wow. And the ones who stomp, those are what you call earth stompers.
That made me think about that movie. Remember, I don't know if it was called
Stomp the Yard.
Well, not just Stomp the Yard, but it was they did it about it was the Crumpin' people from out of Cali, and they did a documentary on it.
Oh yeah.
But it was different groups, like with that the clowns and the Crump groups, but that's what's making me think, because it was, and it was showing about different roots and stuff. But that makes me think about that.
The ground stompers is one part of the rain dance. Okay. In order to perform the whole rain dance, you need members of different tribes performing the dance around the fire. And so you have Crips and Sea walking, that's crooked walking. They controlling the lightning. Yeah. Right. The Bloods is bee walking, right? That's blood walking. That's blood on the earth. So they controlling the thunder. Right. In Detroit, they jitting. Right. And Detroit jitting is controlling the sleep. Ooh. So I can go all over the country and tell you what, but we was just storing up the energy because we ain't used it yet. That's
why it's free to choose, free to choose, free to land, free to choose, free to land.
Yeah. So once we start doing these dances at the same time across the land, we're doing the whole storm ritual. Bring all of this shit full circle.
Yeah. Free the Chiefs, free all of them, free Larry Hoover, free the Chiefs, free the land.
Yeah.
And it's gonna happen. I feel like I wonder if it's gonna happen on your birthday. It'll be beautiful, because I think the revolution gonna start on 11/10.
Well, the OG said they telling all of the inmates across the country on that day, no movement. Tell them to all come talk to me.
Yeah,
they
I know. If I've been keeping up, I'm waiting.
I don't know how it's gonna work out, because I don't know how unified the inmates are, but that's the wind talker message.
If they getting in the outside time and they getting up under this gamma radiation sun that we got hitting our ass, because I'm telling you, this sun is not the regular sun. Yeah, they getting some downloads, some uploads.
Yeah.
Seated queen. 8-8 is seated queen. 80 is an open queen seat. 880 is an open empress seat. 888 is the empress seated. So when we looking at the events that's taking place and the timing of events that's occurring converging, we are at the close of the Piscean age, the opening of the Aquarian age. We in the Jubilee year, which cancels all contracts. Then also, this is the third year in what we call the redemption process of the organic people from the land to reclaim their birthrights and restore the land. Now, we've seen the Pope make a Canadian visit, and he had to be publicly put on notice to his face that his rule is over with, because we operate from a higher standard of law, and no longer can the daughters of the land be compelled to operate under the foreign jurisdiction, because the superior law has been activated. And she put him on notice that the matriarchs across the land has stationed the chiefs. They already put the chiefs on notice to cleanse the land. And what that means is that it is our job to reestablish government, which takes us to Noble Drew Ali immediately. Because one of the things that he say in the oral statements and prophecies, for those who don't understand Noble Drew Ali won't understand what he's talking about. But he said that he would leave these people in power long enough for us, the organic people of the land, to learn how to run government. So when he declared that we was Moorish nationals, there was an agenda attached to it, a legal maneuver to navigate a contract. Now, Ty's been telling us for years how to navigate this contract so we not victimized by it. And he's been reiterating the same thing. These people is a de facto corporate entity acting in a legal capacity as if they are the de jure or the rightful owners and lawmakers of the land. They are not. So who are these people? Where the hell did they come from? Right? And who do they represent? So when I trace back, another thing Noble Drew Ali said is, I need for you to get a good Moorish education. Moorish education is not restricted to Moorish science doctrine, nor the dogmas attached. The doctrine of Moorish science traces all the way back to Rome. And we understood that, and we've seen different things transpire over the course of time, but most of us don't watch what we call the long game, right? So we in a 6,000 year lunar cycle of the 4 cycles in the age, right? So it's a 24,000 year galactic clock. And it is the 2 lunar cycles, moon cycles, and there's 2 sun cycles, and they each separate one from the other. They alternate like fan blades. Now, the reference in understanding the time is Charles Mosley Bay's Clock of Destiny. Because if you don't understand the Clock of Destiny, then it doesn't make sense, the alignments of the stellar arrangements, nor their effect on Earth. So then that takes us to the metaphysics of Moorish science, which takes us to C. Freeman Eel, who thoroughly broke down the Masonic secrets behind Moorish science in the Moorish science that was withheld in the Masonic secrets, right? So along comes Hakeem Bey to explain to us the tribal connection between the ones we call the righteous Moors, which will by default expose the ones that we call the dirty Moors. We call them dirty Moors because they pretend to be with us, but their allegiance is to some other entity not from Earth. In that allegiance, they have sworn war against us until the close of the age, what they call the end of time. The end of time is the close of the age. This is now. We going into the Aquarian age of knowing. That means that the secrets now have to be exposed to the public in a fashion that the public can assimilate who it is doing the dirt, where they at, and how to get rid of the motherfuckers. So they came in as Spanish conquistadors with Christopher Columbus, but they preceded him and they sent scout ships over here 100 years prior to Columbus. References, they came before Columbus, edited by Ivan Van Sertima. So once they got over here, the elders who left the tradition in the South America specifically, said, we didn't see any ships. Now that's blatantly sticks out to me as an open secret because we were a seafaring people who sent Algonquins to fight in the Iberian Peninsula against these same motherfuckers and aided them in ridding the land of these same rogue elements that was using adrenochrome, bloodletting rituals from Babylonian blood magic. They was using Babylonian money magic, and they were using Babylonian sex magic as the tools of conquest in order to subjugate a people. They turned the boys into effeminates, metrosexuals, in order to make them not resistant to the rule of a foreign entity, and they not as apt to protect the women if they are not divine masculine, right? So now in comes the Masonic Lodge under Prince Hall, the Blue Lodge on the fatherland. We understand what Prince Hall and Absalom Jones was doing when they were digging up the Masonic secrets as a apprentice under a under a York Rite Masonic Lodge, who wouldn't give him a charter. So he went to England and got a charter from the Scottish Rite in order to institute his knowledge of the York Rite over here. So he had to go to the other lodge, what they call the Great Grand Lodge in England, and get the charter, right? Well, that was not a charter from us. It wasn't until Malachi York went to Cairo, Egypt, to the original adepts to recover the Masonic charter from Cairo directly, which bypassed all European organizations that was infiltrated. In the process of doing this, he uncovered a sacred record that he called the sacred record of the United Nubian Nation of Moors. And in there, he goes into lectures in the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek, in the ancient Egyptian order, and in the Sufi order of the Green Light, as to explaining that these people came over here to usurp us, to undermine us and to replace us. They gave us the Bible because the Bible is their contract, but it's a spiritual contract and a conjure book and a grimoire, and it's also a riddle. So you have to decode the Bible in order to unlock the code of the Christ secret. So we talking 33 BC, 33 AD is the time frame. It's a 66-year time frame to find 122 degrees on Mount Calvary in order to get to the exact date in September in which the so-called crucifixion supposed to took place, as opposed to what we call Easter, which is the ceremonial worship of the mother as Ashtar or Ishtar, the great mother, who is the guardian of children, right? So then the rabbit being the patriarchal symbol of a virile male, right? So the rabbit was a man the whole time. And the rabbit had the gun, but he ain't know what to do with it, right? So he got sacked by the wolf. So the wolf caught the rabbit, took the gun, and then the hawk had to come recover the rabbit from the wolf. These are metaphors in the Masonic Lodge. The wolf is called She-Ra. She was the one who nursed Romulus and Remus, and these are the founding fathers of Rome. Whereas Remus, the one became Rome, was the warrior, and Romulus, who became the conscience or the intelligence, became the scholar, which tells us in this land that they came over and they used scholastics, right, and warfare in order to subjugate us, which takes us to the Gullah Wars that they call Seminole Wars. Now, you know who dictating what took place in the wars by what they call the war. So when we call them Gullah Wars, we know that all of the tribes from as far away as the Polynesian Islands, south, west, as far north as Alaska and the Eskimos, the Inuits, all sent soldiers, warriors to fight in Florida in what we call the Gullah Wars. This is how the French, right, under Adam Weishaupt using the Louisiana Purchase, and they were able to then do a survey on the land, what they call Lewis and Clark's expedition. As they surveyed the land, they found all our castles empty and said, there's no royalty here. This land is abandoned. But they don't know our culture like we do, because if my soldiers is going to war, I'm standing in the army with them. I'm not sending the motherfucker to fight in anything that I'm not willing to fight in myself. Right? So once these wars begin to take place, Lewis and Clark declared the land empty because they went as far west as Washington State, right? And the translator we know as a blackamoor by the name of Ben Bay. Ben Bay is Benjamin Banneker.
Right.
Benjamin Banneker is credited with the design of Washington, D.C., which is massive sigils that's used for conjure purpose, and we call that the city of D.C. Right?
Right.
So once they established that, they moved our capital, because our capital was originally Philadelphia.